before. And then suddenly, boom, boom, point of observation. Oh my God, it's obvious. And this is happening now, this wake up. It's happening. It can be challenging, mind. I'm not saying it's a doddle, because that sums up some of the ways I felt over the years. And last Tuesday, no, not quite so much now. But this was a great one of me in 1991. I tell you what, that really kind of absolutely encompasses symbolically my inner self. And why? Because when we start to transform, what we put out changes, what we draw in changes, and the outer world appears to collapse. Oh my God, what do we say? My life's falling apart, mate. Mine did. Because the construct going out fell, the construct it was creating fell, my experience, my life's falling apart. But what happened? As a result of the collapse of that rigidity, that false reality that I was living, as a result of that, bingo, another reality could come. Would I go back, despite everything, to what I was before I started to wake up and went through that shite? No frickin' way. No way, thank you very much. No way. Hello, good evening and welcome. Here is this sport. And there's snooker on tonight. I was him? Oh my God. No, that was him. This is me. Different. Simple as that. This is the big, big thing to get over. This is the four-letter word that controls the world. And, you know, it's fear that allows this to happen. You know, this guy's in control because they're following and all the rest of it. Now, if any of these bloody sheep said, sod this for a lark, I'm off, he's in real bloody trouble now, isn't he? Where's the point of control now? It's not on the sodding tractor. He's got 100 sheep to find. But here, oh yes, bah, bah, bah. Did you see the news last night? Yeah, bah, bah. He's in control, sitting on his sodding tractor, doing bugger all. This is the way the society works. Oh, I better not go out here, I better not go out there. No one's telling you not to, in fact, but it's the mouse in the laboratory maze. Oh no, I'm going down there, not going down there. Oh no, all that stuff. And it means that we are in symbolically this state. And if we go, I am me, I am free. Hey, you on the tractor, see ya. And everyone does that. God, the tractor's lost his power. He's not in control of the situation anymore because we've taken control back. And if the sheep did that, this guy would have no control over them. The idea is to lock us into a belief system, lock us into a suppressed and encased reality, and it's called fear. And fear puts you in your shell. He's ever so insecure, he's always in his shell, I'm trying to bring him out of his shell. All these bloody phrases we use absolutely describe what we're talking about, and we get stuck in the bloody box. Oh, I'm going to Oxford this year, pass me exam. Feardom or freedom? Feardom is what controls this reality. It's what controls our energetic state, our vibrational state, our density, and all the rest of it disconnects us. Freedom is what can set us free. And fear of what? As Gandhi said, today is the tomorrow you worried about yesterday. Was it worth it? Was it? I know people, they're going to the dentist and they're going, oh God, I've got to go to the dentist in 3 weeks' time. Oh my God, I'm ever so worried. Oh no, God, oh no, I can't go out and worried. No, about the dentist. 3 weeks later, they're sitting in the waiting room. Oh my God, I've got to the dentist. Oh my God. Mr. Smith, this way. Oh my God. 5 minutes later, walks out. Oh, no problem. It was all right. No problem. Spent 3 weeks of agony projecting forward fear of yesterday or tomorrow. Why? When we get caught in this thing about survival, it's very important, because when we get into a point of survival, we get into the reptilian brain. We lock in there because that's our survival instincts and our survival mechanism. Survival. Survival of what?
Survival of life, I don't want to die, a doctor save me, and all this stuff.
There is no death. There is only life. There is only infinite consciousness, infinite awareness, infinite eternal existence within all that is, has been, and ever will be. They're the 2 points of observation. One, survive, survive, survive. One, there is nothing to survive. Chill out, mate. Okay, that's what it's like. So, there are very two different ways of looking at things. When we lock into body consciousness, we can lock into survival mode. Why? Because the body software has many survival mechanisms and programs within it. And that's not a bad thing, that's a bloody good thing. Because within this reality, this survival instinct of the holographic level of the body computer is a good thing. We wouldn't last long if those survival mechanisms weren't here within the computer, within the world that we live in. It's when they are the governor and take over. They don't just react in times when we're in danger, they are there all the time. Oh, I'm ever so worried. My mother used to say about a neighbor, it's being so worried that keeps her going. What? What? But so many people, and you know, and I noticed this from earlier in my life. I could worry for flipping England. You know, I ain't standing here cross-legged on a bloody mountain saying I'm speaking to my disciples and all that shite. I have been through all this shit and continue to go through a lot of it. So when I'm talking about these things, I'm talking to my sodding self as much as I'm talking to anybody else. And this is what we all experience. It's not about this or that. God, the shite I've been through, I could, oh God, emotionally and all that other stuff. And so when we get caught in that, we get caught in body consciousness. And you get people, I call it emotional addiction. I had this at one time. An emotional addiction, you know the receptors of the cells that take in heroin and cocaine and all that stuff? They are the same receptors that take the chemicals caused by emotions, because emotions create a chemical reaction in the body and vice versa. Hence the mercury and the fillings and all that stuff. And we can get into a state of emotional fear and fear of not surviving. It's kind of all different expressions of that, where we need a fix when there's nothing to worry about. I noticed that. I felt uncomfortable. I was almost in, emotional cold turkey at one time in my life when I didn't have anything to worry about. Because it's an emotional state, it's a chemical state, it's a drug state. And it's a body consciousness state, which has these survival programs. When we move our consciousness to this level, then we know there's nothing to survive. And so the survival instincts, while they can react on a body level to physical danger, quote, they're not constantly constraining and influencing our reality. Now, what is there to worry about? What is there to fear of not surviving when you hear this? Everything from the beginning, my birth, my ancestors, my children, my wife, everything comes together simultaneously. I saw everything about me and about everyone who was around me. I saw everything they were thinking now, what they thought then, what was happening before, what was happening now. There is no time, there is no sequence of events, no such thing as limitation of distance, of period, of place, of time. I could be anywhere I wanted to be simultaneously. What is there to fear surviving or not surviving when we move to that level of consciousness? That's the level, if we get to it, and we can come from that within physical embodiment, or what we call it, suddenly our lives transform. And if enough people do it, this reality transforms. Know thyself. That's something that we've been manipulated not to know. Don't ask questions, know the answer. When we're thinking, questions, we're actually saying to ourselves, I don't know the answer. When if we just get to that level of knowing, of intuitive knowing, you find the answer without asking the question. You just know. This asks questions, trying to work things out. Chatter, 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 chatter. Wonder what that is. The reason at the level of intuitive knowing, the connection to higher awareness, you know the answer without asking the question, is because instead of asking the question within isolated consciousness, disconnected from infinite awareness, you're now connected to infinite awareness. So instead of asking the question, you know the answer, because infinite awareness is the all-knowing. That's where the answers lie. Without asking the questions, you just know. I just know I've got to be so-and-so tomorrow. How do you know that? I don't know. I can't explain it. I just know. And you go, and what happens? Something happens that takes you forward. Whereas you'd have gone, no, I can't do that. No, you can't do that. You've got things to do. You've got to go to the supermarket tomorrow. How do I feel to go there? This intuitive level of knowing is our connection to higher consciousness. And this is, if you watch it, always at war with intuition, nearly always. And when we go with this intuitive knowing, again, right brain, and don't let the left brain dominate. You can't do that. You've got a mortgage, and you've got an appointment tomorrow. You can't do that. You can't go to India. No, you've got a mortgage, all that stuff. This is always telling us what we can't do, because it thinks in such limited terms of structure. This tells us what we are and what we can do. And if we choose to go with it, then we start to break out of this mind prison. And I have to say, what changed my life, I say more than anything else, was when I decided, funnily enough, just before I started to have this awakening, I decided, because of experiences I had, experiences I didn't like again, but were a wonderful gift, I decided that if I ever had a situation again where my intuition said one thing and my head said another, I was going with my intuition every time. And I went with it, and I went with it, and I went with it, and you may have noticed it got me into a bit of trouble sometimes. It got me into a bit of trouble. But what happens then when you follow your intuition and you get into a bit of trouble? I got in a bit of trouble, Betty, and all that stuff. No one remembers that either. My bloody age, I don't know. This guy crosses the arms. See, I bloody told you, didn't listen to me, get into trouble. I should have listened to me. A lot of people go, yeah, I know, oh no, I'll never do that again. But if you keep going with your intuition, you keep following this knowing, these urges, these passions of what you want to do with your life and where you want to go and where you want to be, eventually the sequence of situations leads the left brain, which is an observer of reality, and if you talk its language, it can kind of come round. And it says, hold on a second. When you follow your intuition, you get into a bit of trouble, but then that led to that, and that led to that, and that led to that. Oh, it works out in the end, doesn't it? And what happens, and this happened to me around the mid-90s, what I felt intuitively and what I thought became one. So there was the war stopped. I want to do this. No, you got to do that. You got to do this. Stopped. And now they operate as one unit, because this has seen enough of what intuition does to go, okay, I can see it. I'll go with this. And it's open to anyone to do that, to stop that war between intuitive knowing, because they should be working as one unit. They shouldn't be at war. All these different elements that decode reality should be working as one unit. To do this. And then we can start controlling our own reality. Knowingly, in awareness, because we're doing it anyway. And what these manipulators do, because they know this system, they impose and implant belief systems which then affect our energy field, which then draw to us decoded reality, daily experience, that matches the belief systems that have been programmed into us. They are programming our reality through us. And when we clear that out, we then can consciously start to create our own, which is the worst nightmare of the manipulators. Worst nightmare.